You know we love spooky things. This is why we fell in love with Michigan-based Lynn B Designs. When I popped the pumpkin spice all the things wax melt into my burner, my home was filled with the delicious buttery scent. Plus, there's the wide variety of gorgeous nail polishes with themes like Hocus Pocus and Pleasant Peninsula. All products are vegan and cruelty-free, and you can find monthly sales on Facebook and Instagram at Lynn B Designs. Head to lynbdesigns.store today. Again, that's LYNB designs.store.
We love them. We love you. It's great nail polish. It's the best I've ever used. Thanks!
Michiganders can be a superstitious bunch. We find all sorts of reasons to explain the world around us, sometimes pulling from science, sometimes tradition, and sometimes from our imaginations. What happens when we can't readily explain our experiences? And what happens when a ghost story gets out of hand? Do these legends stem entirely from fantasy, or are people seeing things no one can truly explain? I'm Krista K. Coburn.
And I'm Kay Gray. Welcome to Haunted Mitten. We have talked a few times about haunted theaters on the podcast. There was the absolutely gorgeous State Theater in the second Bay City episode last season,
Which we also visited on my birthday last year, and it's really stunning.
It's gorgeous. It's so pretty.
Yeah, we got a little tour, and yeah, I was blown away. It was really unique. And you can also read about the State Theater in Nicole Beecham's book, Haunted Bay City, Michigan. Shout out. Hey, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Yep, which is it's part of what drew us to Bay City in the first place, because I didn't know much about it. And there are 2 books on Bay City now.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
There was also Northern Michigan University's Forrest Roberts Theater, which we discussed in Season 2's Universities and Colleges Part 2. And in Marshall, there is the block building with an allegedly still set up former opera house.
Yes. But this episode is entirely devoted to haunted theaters all across Michigan. We're going to be taking quite the state tour with this one.
We will begin in the UP with the Calumet Theater. Calumet, right?
Yes, Calumet.
Okay. Nice, because I'm not getting stared at again.
We were corrected on that one.
Yes, we were. Reading from their own website.
The theater opened on March 20th, 1900, with a touring Broadway production of Reginald de Koven's The Highwaymen. With the decline of copper mining and the local economy and the advent of motion pictures, stage productions became less common in the late 1920s. From the Depression through the late 1950s, it was almost exclusively a movie theater, operated by several different local interests over the years. The auditorium was renovated for the village's centennial in 1975, and the exterior was restored in 1988 to 89. The Calumet Theater Company was incorporated in 1983 as an independent nonprofit cultural organization to program events and encourage continuing restoration. The Calumet Theater is listed as a National Historic Landmark since 1971. It is a heritage site of the Keweenaw National Historical Park, that's since 1993, and is the only site that still serves its original function.
Wow.
Yeah, quite the history there.
According to Jennifer Billick in her book, Ghosts of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the Calumet Theater was used as a morgue for the Italian Hall disaster in 1913. Briefly, in case our listeners are not aware, because I don't think we fully talked about it yet.
No.
The Italian Hall disaster happened on Christmas Eve, 1913, in Calumet. There was a crowded holiday party on the second floor of the Italian Hall. Someone, no one knows who, yelled "Fire!" which caused a stampede as hundreds of attendees tried to flee down the single stairwell. 73 people died. 59 of them were children, and the youngest victim was 2 years old.
And there was no fire.
Correct.
Because many of the families in the hall were union miners and their families, and the union was on a strike at the time. It is said that the false fire alarm came from someone who was anti-union, is the guess. No one knows.
Right.
But yeah, as I said, person was never identified. If you look up the disaster online, you should come across an MLive article called 1913 Italian Hall Disaster Was a Michigan Christmas Eve Tragedy. Mm-hmm. And that has a lot more information as well as pictures, and I'll link that in the show notes as well.
Cool. Wow.
Timely, isn't it? Christmas Eve.
Timely, yeah, for Christmas Eve. And I was just thinking about North Carolina and all that's happening surrounding that right now.
Yeah.
That's humans never change.
Nope.
Anyway,
Nope, we don't.
back to the theater. It was featured as part of Travel Channel's Ghost-tober in 2019. If you saw that, I probably did. And show favorite WFMK, we love you, included it in their series of haunted Michigan locations, saying,
Quote, one of the celebrity performers at the Calumet Theater was Madame Helena Modjeska, who passed away in 1909 at the all too young age of 68, and is said that her ghost is one of the spirits that haunt the theater, end quote. There, I said the hard name for you.
Thank you.
I believe it's Polish, yeah. Modjeska.
Modjeska.
Got to do my in-laws proud.
That sounds like a good segue into what goes on here. According to Billick's book, you can hear children's laughter as well as screams, perhaps from the Italian hall disaster, which would be fucking terrible. The removal of Madame Helena Modjeska. It's a wonderful name.
It is.
The removal of her portrait was followed by quote unquote flickering lights and loud crashes. Ghostly figures and floating ectoplasm have been seen on the stage and in the balcony. A disembodied voice once yelled bingo during a bingo game.
That's just mean.
I think somebody thought they had bingo and then didn't. Bingo! Just kidding. That was a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. I don't know whose voice that
Man,
was. That's
that
crazy.
ghost. So rude.
That's crazy. Where'd that come from? Wow, that was a ghost.
The Keweenaw Report spoke with executive director of the theater, Laura Miller. At least she was in 2016 when the article was written. Sometimes these things change. Who said, quote, we developed our haunted reputation in 1958 when actress Addis Lane, I'm guessing that's how that's pronounced.
I think so.
Adddyse. It's a cool name regardless.
Yeah, it is.
She lost a line talking about Taming of the Shrew, and she saw the spirit of Madame Modjeska come to her from the first balcony and mouth the words to her. Since 1958, there have been several different people that have claimed to see the spirit of Madame Modjeska, end quote. People have reported, quote, music that comes from different locations that's unexplainable. You've got a lot of cold breezes that just hover around you from time to time. A lot of door handles that are locked and people are trying to get in and nobody on the other side, end quote.
That's pretty, what a very helpful madame.
Yeah. I guess she had also done that role.
Oh, okay.
So
she knows the lines.
Yeah, she knew the lines.
Oh my goodness. In addition to Madame Modjeska, I love it. WFMK said that, quote, in 1903, a man was murdered in the theater whose ghost is seen from time to time and is heard screaming in the dead of night. Terrifying. Also, there seems to be the spirit of a little girl by the name of Alonda Rowe. We have the greatest names in this episode so far.
There's some good ones.
Who died mysteriously at the theater, whose screams are also heard, end quote. However, according to Billick, no records exist of the 1903 murder and death of Alonda Rowe.
They're just good stories. People hear things that sound like screams and then they make up a story, is my guess.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my guess. Also, it just makes a good story. Like, mysterious voices scream in the theater.
Yeah, who's screaming?
Good times.
Stop screaming in the theater.
Yeah.
Quiet backstage, please. Goodness.
Yeah, no screaming.
We're in a theater.
Yeah, I could not find anyone with that name having died in Michigan on Find a Grave. There was an E.C. Rowe who died in 1891 with no birth year, but that grave is in Muskegon, so nowhere near Calumet.
Oh, what, miles and a bridge away.
Yes. Yes.
Marlon Lee, the executive director of the Calumet Theater in 2019, told TV6, quote, people have heard music coming from the ballroom when no one was supposed to be playing in there, to see shadowy figures and walking into cold spots that weren't cold before. There's all kinds of stories as far as the paranormal and potential ghosts go here, end quote.
And we actually visited the Calumet Theater. It was like probably just over a decade ago. On the same trip we saw the Paulding Light.
It was a decade ago.
I know. Time flies.
Oh my goodness.
I do remember someone there telling us about Helena Modjeska.
Yeah.
And I seem to recall something about the bathroom.
There was something about the ladies' bathroom.
Yeah. And I didn't find that repeated anywhere online, but I do remember her telling us that.
Yeah.
And I used the bathroom and no issues.
That's right. I remember I asked you afterwards. And if I wrote it down, it's on a blog that I probably don't have access to. If I Google it, I can probably find it. But
oh, yeah. There
It would have been there.
might be in my blog. I'm not sure.
I don't know. But yes, I do remember something about the bathroom. I just don't. Maybe lights?
Yeah, I'm probably typical bathroom stuff.
I don't know. Typical ghosts and ladies bathroom stuff. They love it.
Because they're always the same stories. But yeah, so yeah, something about the ladies' bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, the woman having her lines fed to her, so to speak. And sort of typical haunted theater stuff.
Kinda. There's
The
like
screaming is different
yeah.
of a man and a young girl allegedly who may or may not have existed.
Don't like that.
Again, children could be related to the Italian Hall disaster.
Or it could just be youthful voices. I don't know a better way to describe that.
And they do still memorialize that disaster every year, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there's a walk or something.
Yeah. I think I have it detailed in our fantastic many book-sized doc.
Yeah. But yeah, since we hadn't talked about that, I did want to mention it here instead of just people going, wait a minute, what?
What?
So
what is that?
We may talk about that in more depth another time.
Later.
Because, yeah, it was a disaster. I mean, it really was.
Yes.
Like,
and there is a whole
records.
long history of the mining strike around it. And yeah, I've dug into the history behind it, and there's a lot of parallels we can draw between it and all the stuff going on right now here in 2022.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Correct.
I mean, truly.
It's humanity. I don't think since we became humans as we know them, I don't think we've changed.
Nope.
Anyway, diatribe over. Okay, our next stop is the historic Howell Theater. Howell is in southeast-ish Lower Michigan. It's about halfway between Ann Arbor and Lansing if you take I-96.
Currently a 2-screen indie movie theater and entertainment venue, the historic Howell Theater first opened its doors in 1928. According to Mysterious Universe, however, the land that the theater was built on was used as, quote, an infirmary for wounded and dying soldiers, end quote, during the Civil War. After this, the land became a town square, also according to Mysterious Universe.
The Livingston Post called the historic Howell Theater, quote, one of the most haunted locations in southeast Michigan, end quote, which is honestly a claim we see kind of a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see if it lives up to this assertion. The Portal Paranormal Society, or PPS, has conducted both private and public investigations. Quoting from Mysterious Universe, the team has experienced, quote, shadow people, doors slammed so hard they break hinges, abundant EVP, electronic voice phenomena activity, and unusual mood swings that will overcome them for no apparent reason, as if they are reflecting the emotions of some outside force, end quote.
Yeah, and the sources they use on Mysterious Universe, because they do link to that, are gone.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Always.
So they've managed to, I don't know, keep it up on the internet, I guess.
Yeah, that's like half the problem with doing paranormal research on the internet is that half of these places don't exist anymore.
Yeah, like a lot of the books I read, they're like, oh, go to our website and you can hear the EVPs, and the website is long gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
And a lot of newspaper articles, if they're old enough online, they just delete them or something.
Yeah,
they run out of storage space and they just get rid of old articles.
Yeah. Maybe we have to start using the Wayback Machine more and see if we can get anything.
Yeah, sometimes those pop up and sometimes they don't, because a lot of them are small newspapers.
It's true.
And that's why they delete them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, the some of the things they talk about, the only place you're going to find is probably Mysterious Universe, because they have saved it.
They have like a backlog, yeah.
Yep.
Joy.
So PPS co-founder, which I don't think they're around anymore. I think I did look that up. PPS co-founder Ken Szymanski said, quote, they, meaning the spirits, will usually talk to us. Shadow activity seems to happen every time. We get all manners of answers from them. Some choose to be there. Some are compelled to be there. Some have gone into other buildings on Grand River, including the Opera House and a restaurant, end quote. One of the more interesting spirits that allegedly haunts the theater is a lion. Yes, really.
Okay.
Serious. This is why I had to include this. This is incredible. So the story goes that back when it was a vaudeville theater, a circus came to town, complete with a lion named Pete. Unfortunately, Pete died while the circus was performing at the theater and was buried out back.
Like you did back in the day before we treated animals with kindness.
Kinda, yeah. Quoting Suminski again.
Quote, as far as the extreme activity goes, we all observed what appeared to be a shadow figure of some sort of animal run down the main aisle of Theater 2 and leap at fellow group founder Jen Main. I was seated in the aisle and saw it fly past me on its way to Jen, who was seated on the stage directly in the path of the aisle. I noticed something about 4.5 feet long and low move past me. I started to yell, "Look out!" but Jen saw it as it leapt at her and then vanished. No less than 4 of us witnessed this event and could not come up with a rational explanation. End quote. Damn.
Wild, right?
Literally wild.
Yeah.
Oh my God, a ghost lion.
Mm-hmm. Named Pete. It's said the loft is Pete's favorite place to hang out. And while up there, investigators felt, quote, tightness in their chests, pressure moving into their shoulders, and headaches, end quote. That sounds very uncomfortable.
That sounds awful.
Like, I know that feeling.
I'm like, that
awful.
sounds like me normal. That sucks.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't notice. If I was there, I wouldn't notice.
Nope.
Because that just happens.
Yep.
So this is from firsthand account in Supernatural Magazine, if anyone's familiar with that one.
I am not, actually.
I run into them every once in a great while.
Okay. They're still around?
Well, this was still up anyway.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
Because I was able to find, and the other one would pull from it and quote, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go to the source where she literally wrote a big long thing of her experience. So they summarize it, but you can go and read her actual full account, which is like a blog post. It's pretty long.
Yeah.
So the writer believes that this was an effect of Pete's roar, a wave of infrasound.
Interesting.
Which actually kind of makes sense. So they go on to explain it thusly, and again, go read it because it goes into way more detail. I'm just summarizing here. Quote, infrasound is a sound wave just under the human range of hearing. Lions, whales, elephants all use a form of ultrasound. It can disorient humans, but it is a normal means of communication to species that can produce it. Human hearing picks up sounds from between 20 to 20,000 hertz. The infrasound produced by a lion's roar hits at 18 hertz. So
ooh, snap.
Just under. Scientists and biologists have documented that this blast of infrasound actually paralyzes the lion's prey and helps the lion to catch its prey. In other species, this sound can be used as a warning call, a mating call, or for hunting practices. The effects of infrasound on the human body can range from headaches to nausea. Symptoms include dizziness, annoyance, fatigue, tinnitus or ringing in the ears, heart palpitations, or feelings of high anxiety and a general feeling of pressure on the abdomen, end quote.
Yup. Yeah.
So yeah, they could have been experiencing a ghost lion's roar.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is a wild story. This is why we had to talk about this.
Yeah, we
it's
did.
Great.
Oh my gosh.
We talked about was it the lady that had the leopards in Bay City, and now we've got a lion.
Wow. All right.
Michigan's cool, y'all.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to go with the circumstances surround us getting a ghost lion. It's probably not great.
Yeah, I mean, he allegedly died under, normal circumstances other than he was a lion performing in a theater.
Sure. Normal. I mean, normal for these times. Crazy. Infrasound was also one of the theories proposed for the Dyatlov Pass incident. That's
right, yes.
One of the reasons why everybody went insane.
Yeah. I think they've since kind of poo-pooed that, I guess I would say. They haven't disproven it.
I will say Russia has decided something. Has decided what has happened.
Well, and someone else said, because Russia was like, oh, it was a avalanche. Yeah. And then people are like, what?
Probably
how?
not.
Like, how could that do that? And then a guy, I don't know if he was like Italian or something, I don't remember, somewhat recently was like,
yeah,
oh, no, it actually could have been an avalanche, and here's how. And yes, that's weird.
And it's and still very weird.
He fully admitted.
Yeah.
Like, it's still weird. I mean, this is like still a freak thing.
Yeah. Right. Whatever happened to those people, it was weird.
Yeah.
A thing that should not have happened, but happened.
And what he did was basically went, okay, you're saying it was an avalanche. How could it have been an avalanche? Because that's not how we understand avalanches to behave.
Right.
And then was like, oh, okay, this is how it could have happened if it were an avalanche.
Yeah.
But yeah, infrasound was also a definite possibility.
Yeah.
Given the area, and how sneaky the Russians are. They still have hidden cities.
That's nuts.
Yes.
That's wild.
Russia is bonkers.
Correct.
They operate very differently than other places in the world.
Correct. Hello, Russian listeners and
Not judging.
Russian lurkers,
Some things are kind of badass, but also like, whoa there.
but also what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, the investigators believe they made contact with Pete using a K2 meter and a pendulum. Again, quoting from Supernatural magazine, quote, sitting on the dark, cold stage, I softly called to Pete and asked him to gently make his presence known, gently, before I sang him the song The Lion Sleeps Tonight by the Tokens. My reward was my K2 meter lighting up repeatedly, and the pendulum a fellow team member was using being batted wildly by an unseen paw, similar to a kitten slapping a feather on a string. I ask questions and get a little flashes of light on my K2 meter, end quote.
Pretty cool, huh?
That's so cool. Thank you for responding gently, Pete.
Yeah.
Please don't ghost maul us. Thank
Big
you.
kitty.
He's a
It was very interesting to have this firsthand account and not just have someone else summarize it.
Right?
And I'll definitely be linking into the show notes if you do want to read it in its entirety. I encourage you to. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's not often you get that much detail on a personal account.
Right.
Like
It's not often we even get the actual personal account from investigators. Usually
Yeah.
it's like a summary.
Yeah,
of
which is
there.
what the other one was.
Yeah.
And a person who was there that night even commented on the article to verify the experiences.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
yeah, take that as you will. Some other things that employees and patrons have reported experiencing at this theater are voices, singing, whistling, tapping, unlocked doors becoming locked, disembodied footsteps, the usual. But that lion, though, like, that takes the cake.
I guess we gotta go to Howell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goodness, that's not that far.
No, not really. It's halfway to Lansing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's all I can say about that one is wow.
Love it. I want to go meet Pete.
Yeah,
Oh, poor Pete.
like it's not often we get to talk about potential animal spirits.
Yeah.
So,
I love it when we do.
yeah.
Next, we have the Sheboygan Opera House, which Michigan.org describes as, quote, a restored vintage 1888 three-story red brick Romanesque theater with 582 seats and arched doors and windows, end quote. Sheboygan, by the way, is located along Lake Huron in the north of the Lower Peninsula. If you look at your right hand, palm up, Sheboygan is the tip of your index finger, assuming you have an index finger.
Yeah, it's right there.
Thanks for writing that
Boink.
last part.
You might not have an index finger.
I know.
And then
And
you'd
then
be like,
it's-
oh no.
Then it's in the space where the tip of your index finger should be.
Yep.
Bam.
You know what Michigan looks like. You know what that means.
Is that where we ate at that Chinese place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
it is. Yeah. Amazingly delicious, authentic Chinese food.
So good.
Small town, but I still remember. Over a decade later, I still remember.
I know.
It was so good.
That's why I had to ask, because I was like, oh, I remember that place. I think it was Sheboygan. It was. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
I
to
mean,
know.
it's not exactly the middle of nowhere, but it's pretty rural.
Oh my God. You even say that in the
Yeah.
next part. That's hilarious.
It was, oh man. It's some of the most authentic Chinese food I've ever had in Sheboygan. I don't know if she's still there, but
I don't know, but there's this Sheboyganites. There was this little Chinese place.
yeah, very small.
If she's still there, tell her we love her. We haven't been there in a decade.
I did try to look it up on Google, but it didn't really work very well.
Oh.
So. But yeah, oh man, that place is amazing. But back to the Opera House.
I guess. Now I'm hungry.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway, Under the Radar, which is one of my favorite travel shows. I've actually met him. He's great.
That's awesome. He has a new book coming out.
Yes. We got I think the first one, the first 50 episodes or whatever it is. And then there's the second one, and then there's more because it's been on for a while. And you can watch a lot of them on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can watch all of them, but you can watch a lot of them on YouTube. So they visited Sheboygan and the Opera House, and their website says, quote, according to many of the volunteers who care for this historic place, the Opera House is also haunted by a husband and wife team. Apparently these two are friendly ghosts who will only play the occasional practical joke on theatergoers. While we were there, we heard a door slam in a part of the balcony where no living person was. End quote.
Aw, they're together.
Yeah. Hopefully they get along.
Hopefully.
They seem to. It says they're playful. So.
Yeah. According to the book Supernatural Haunts, Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society Case Files, which we love, by Brad Blair, Tim Ellis, and Steve LaPlante, a lot goes on here. Stage lights turn on and off by themselves. The, quote, transparent figure of a man, end quote, walking in the balcony was caught on camera by a local news channel. Do we have that? Can we find that?
No.
Dang it.
Well, maybe with some more digging. But yeah.
A woman has been seen crossing the stage. During an investigation, 2 different team members at 2 different times heard a woman speaking from backstage. Unfortunately, they couldn't make out what she was saying. During an EVP session on stage, a rock was skipped across the stage when the request was made to be given a sign if anyone was present. At the same time, the temperature dropped 7 degrees Fahrenheit. During an EVP session on the balcony, the investigator said, quote, we're just here to say hi, end quote. As if in answer, an unfamiliar man's voice came over the trans two-way radio saying, hello. A photo was taken of what looked like a woman on the stage. A motion detector that was set up in a hallway went off at least 3 times during the night. During another EVP session that night, the question was asked, quote, do you mind that we are here trying to contact you, end quote. Upon review, the word no was clearly there. A loud bang was made on the bathroom door while investigators were outside it packing up equipment, and no one was inside.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. There's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Something's hanging out.
Yeah, clearly.
Something's having a good time.
Yeah. Supernatural Haunts is, 1, a fantastic name for a book.
Right.
2, great group, lots of info, very thorough, because they're talking about their own investigations.
Yeah.
Very thorough, lots of info.
Right. So they know. Yeah.
So yeah, that was great. And yeah, a lot of activity in Sheboygan.
Dude, gotta go back to Sheboygan. Gotta go get
Apparently.
some Chinese food.
I know, gotta find that Chinese food. And I was trying to picture, because I mean, we were just kind of driving through and we just stopped to get a bite to eat.
Yeah.
I can't picture where the Opera House would
I
have been.
only remember that Chinese place. As far as I'm concerned, we found an awesome Chinese place in the middle of the woods.
Kinda. There were like fields and stuff, but yeah. I think we were like, we didn't go through town. I think we just were like, we're hungry. Search nearby restaurants.
I think so.
Cool. Chinese food.
Found it.
Oh my God, most authentic Chinese food I've ever had. Like in Michigan. There's a dim sum place was in Grand Rapids or outside of Grand Rapids that was pretty darn amazing, very authentic dim sum, but different kind of food.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it's called. Don't know if it's still there. But
wow, we're bad at this.
this was back when I was in college, so we're going
fair.
back.
That's fair.
More than 1 decade.
Aw.
Yeah.
So we love all your food, but we are never going to remember your names.
I'm old. COVID's like fried my memory.
Yep. Gone.
So this next one is pretty fun. At least I think it is because it's different. It's the Midland Cinemas in where else? Midland, Michigan.
Hey.
Midland is part of the Saginaw-Midland Bay City Tri-City area, right at the bottom of Saginaw Bay. So where the thumb connects to the rest of the Lower Peninsula. You know where that is.
Yeah.
You get it. I love that we can use this
Hold
as a
up
map.
your hand. You'll find it.
Yeah. Lisa Hoskins, in her book Ghosts of Bay City, Saginaw, and Midland, says that the Midland Cinemas was built on land that was once a farm, and 6 people died on the farm.
I mean, that happens on farms.
Yep. And looking at pictures, I'm like, yeah, it's probably a farm.
I'm like, oh, it's Midland? It was probably a farm.
Probably a farm.
If it's not still a farm, it was a farm.
Yep. Maybe there was a village set up there, though it's a little far away from the water. So, yeah, not much there. And allegedly 6 people died. That's all it says.
Whoops.
So while possibly relevant to haunted activity, that also is very uncommon for farms. farms.
Yeah.
Especially farms that have been passed down in a family line or split up amongst family members,
Yeah.
as has happened in my own family line. In the past, most people died at home. And of course, there were farm accidents, whatnot. So
Yeah.
And before Midland was colonized by Europeans, it was home to the Chippewa as late as the 1850s, possibly longer.
Cool.
So they were there a while
Yeah.
before getting forced out
Right.
aggressively.
Yeah, except
forced
for
out.
that part.
But yeah, they were there fairly recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the grand
that's-
scheme of things,
Right.
they were still living there.
Yeah, and like, think about how many babies
Oh yeah,
died before they could like become people, and yeah,
yeah. So likely more than 6 people have died on that land.
probably.
Very likely.
Yeah. So, question mark. As for activity, Hoskins said that an employee cleaning at night heard a woman scream. We have lots of screams in this episode.
I do. Very dramatic.
Everybody's screaming in theaters. Stop screaming in theaters. Good acoustics.
That's true.
Hoskins said that an employee cleaning at night heard a woman scream from inside one of the projection rooms. He also heard a sound like nails scratching on the door. It's a little terrifying.
Yeah, a little creepy.
Yeah. Scratch, scratch, scratch. No, thank you. The room locked from the outside and he knew no one could be in there. Frightened, he ran out and never did night cleaning again.
Fair.
Screaming, then things clawing at your door.
Yeah, that's horror movie stuff right there.
That really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Employees have also reported strange noises and apparitions sitting in theater seats when the cinema isn't open. Unexplainable.net says, quote, the ghostly vision of a bearded man in overalls has been reported to haunt the Midland cinemas in Michigan, where other strange events are known to occur. Over the years, there have been reports of toilets flushing on their own, odd sounds, and people who seem to never leave a bathroom stall.
Yeah.
End quote.
I don't know
You
what
will
that
see
means.
these same stories repeated on hauntedhouse.com. Oh my God. The spirit just like, you just gotta go, man.
Oh, that would suck. You're stuck there perpetually having to use the toilet for the rest of eternity.
Oh.
Or maybe that's just where they like to hide.
I mean, maybe they're like moaning Myrtle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's just where they chill, okay?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
would be annoying if it's a packed theater and it's like, this person will never leave the stall.
But you look under and there's no feet.
No feet.
Then I'm just like, somebody locked the stall from the inside, huh? Because this has happened
Which-
at many jobs that I've had.
Yeah, and how do you do that?
I don't know, but I hate it.
Just being a jerk.
Stop doing it.
Oh,
I'm going to assume damn kids.
that's true. I was a damn kid once.
You lock in stalls?
I usually had to crawl under to unlock them, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
So what I find most interesting, I guess, about this location is that it's not a historical building. It's a completely modern cineplex with at least 9 different movies showing across multiple theaters. It reminds me of like the Rave that we have here in Ypsi, or the Celebration Cinema I grew up with in Portage, which is located next to the mall.
Yeah.
In fact, Midland Cinemas is located a stone's throw from the Midland Mall. So it's that kind of movie theater. It's not historic by any stretch.
Right.
It's not a place I would have looked at before and thought, gee, I bet this place is haunted.
No, I didn't even pay like I
You just kind of assume it's historic.
I
It's
just
not.
I literally assumed.
It's just one of those.
You mentioned
a
the Chippewa
Cineplex.
in the 1850s, and I was like, oh, okay, it's probably like a theater turned theater.
Nope.
No. Oh my God.
Nope. I don't know when it was constructed, but
But
it's pretty modern.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it reminds me of that, the Rave Celebration.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a mall cineplex,
Right.
is what it is,
Yeah. Huh.
and it is apparently haunted.
Cool. I don't know. Everybody likes movies, I guess.
It's true.
Everybody likes
And
movies.
clawing at doors.
And horrific. Somebody likes horror movies. And
Yeah.
has decided to be horror movies.
Yeah, I couldn't find how many screens this place had, but when I looked, it had like 9 different movies playing. So
Oh, okay. So it's
and like Wakanda Forever, like
yeah,
recent.
all the movies
new
that are out
releases.
right now. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's haunted allegedly. And yeah, that's why as a Hoskins said, apparent like 6 people died here. Like,
Right, but I
6
think,
people that she could account for. I guess.
Yeah, like we said before, it doesn't have to be somebody that died there. So
No.
I don't know. Somebody just somebody, something, I'm making a hand wavy motion. Just really likes movies, I guess.
Yeah. And all we know
fucking
is
with
that
employees.
the area was populated by the Chippewa, who were probably there for a few hundred years at least.
Yeah, living their lives.
And then probably the tribe before them. So yeah, people have been living there for a very long time.
Yeah, cool.
Could be from that. Who knows?
Our last stop on this haunted theaters trip is Grand Haven. The Grand Haven Theater originally opened in 1928 as a vaudeville and movie theater. The auditorium, or theater part, is now gone and has been turned into condos, which you can book on various travel websites. So you can, stay in a haunted theater.
Yeah.
Kind of. A little. Sort of.
Ish.
You could stay where a haunted theater used to be.
Yep.
For a while, there was the attached theater bar, but like so many places, they closed in 2020.
Yup. I was keeping an eye on them to see if they would reopen because I was working on this during the pandemic, and thus far, no, still says closed.
Nope.
According to WFMK as well as Ghost Quest, there are pervasive rumors that a former janitor is buried beneath the building. Question mark? Kind of weird.
Why?
Because someone has to be buried there now. Can't just die there. You got to be buried there. Lights turned off and on by themselves. Objects moved on their own. And someone, who was not an employee, would clean up between theater patrons. Ambrose Hammond offers more details in her book, Ghosts and Legends of Michigan's West Coast. That's where I found this.
The ghostly custodian is former in-the-flesh custodian John Buchanan. He worked as custodian until his retirement after 39 years. People said he was, quote-unquote, a little off or slow, but he was friendly once you got to know him and hardworking. John used to tell fellow employees that if they ever heard noise coming from the basement, it was just the spirits of the vaudevillians in the then-abandoned dressing rooms. One man claimed in a Grand Haven Tribune article in 1996 that he went beneath where the former concession station was and saw a mound of sand that, quote, that resembled, quote, an Indian burial site. Great. There used to be tunnels under downtown, but they are now blocked off. It was not an Indian burial site. I'm just going to say that right now.
I mean, it could have been an Indian mound.
Well, okay.
They're all over.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I know of the one in Kalamazoo. I've picnicked on it, which is weird now that I look back. But,
yeah.
It's right in the middle of town, so
yeah.
hard to miss.
I've definitely sat on it. Now I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. I mean, at least it was preserved, unlike
the rest of it.
Several other sites. So, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Grand Haven's really close to the water, though. Is that a
mound of sand, though?
Yeah. Although I guess because the mound builders, that was a long time ago.
True.
We know like almost nothing about them.
Right. We know that they made mounds, and that's it.
Yeah. Like it was ancient even for like the Potawatomi and Chippewa and stuff around. Like even they were like, yeah, we don't know.
Oh, those? We have no idea.
They've been here far longer than we have. So the land would have been different at the time, the shoreline. But yeah, I don't know if you would find a mound that close to the lakeshore.
I don't know. I guess I don't know where they all are. I have no idea.
They're all over the state.
Yeah.
So could there be a mound in the Grand Haven area? Yeah. Would it have been that close to the water? I don't know.
I have no clue.
I don't know how practical that is. I've never built a mound of that size. Built plenty of mounds, just not that big. And I've never buried a body like that.
Well, and I'm like, why would they still be in the tunnels under?
Well, they would have just built right over top of it because white people are dumb and very disrespectful.
I mean, you are not wrong.
Like white people back then, especially. But yeah, I kind of feel like he probably just kind of made that up. Beginning in the 1980s, employees started to find garbage bags tied and ready to be taken out when they arrived in the morning.
Goodness, you're so helpful. Thank you.
So helpful. They also reported phantom footsteps, lights going on and off, doors on the second floor slamming shut and reopening, seeing a shadowy figure out of the corner of their eyes, and feelings of being watched. One former manager would talk to John saying things like, "I'm busy right now, John," and whatever activity was going on would stop.
No word on if the activity continues in the condos or what will become of the bar. If you've stayed there and have some unusual experiences, please let us know.
Please.
Contact hauntedmitten@gmail.com. We want to know.
It's really beautiful, too, if you want to stay there. It's right by the water. You get a good view. You're
I mean,
right
that sounds
downtown.
nice.
Like, it's great. And I think they're on Airbnb. They're on, like, Travelocity. They're
Oh, okay. It's like
your travel booking of choice.
right.
Some people might live there, but there are definitely ones that are available for short-term stays.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they look really nice. Like, I would go. But yeah, it's a shame about the bar, but probably something will open in that space, I'm guessing. I mean, it's a ready-made bar restaurant.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it's Grand Haven. It's not like Grand Haven has like had its heyday in long past. It's still
Right, it's still a pretty bustling city.
Yeah. You know, Michigan bustling.
It's on the lake shore.
It's gonna do okay.
It's on the Michigan lake shore, which is where all the sandy beaches are.
Oh, correct.
Slightly less bustling on the Huron side because we have rocky shores.
Yeah.
However, if you go to Ontario, their side of Lake Huron is just like our side of Michigan. It's sandy and beautiful and resorty.
Oh.
And if you go to like the Wisconsin side of Lake Michigan, same thing. It's rocky. They don't have the beaches like we do.
Geology's cool.
It is very cool.
I'm like, huh. Do all of them work that way? I would assume so then.
That's mostly where our weather comes from.
Yeah.
It's ground the rocky shore into sand.
Yeah. Great. That's a little bit,
Weather's cool.
man, weather's a lot.
Yeah, especially if you live on the Great Lakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad I live as far in as I do.
Oh, I'm sad. I live as far as I do.
I can go visit,
I have great respect for the lakes.
but I don't have to like live with that much weather. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this little tour of some of Michigan's haunted theaters. Don't forget that Haunted Mitten is on Patreon. $1 a month gets you access to the private Haunted Mitten Discord server, as well as exclusive Patreon content, including a growing collection of live presentations. Also, check us out at hauntedmitten.com, which now includes a link to our merch store. Thank you to our programmer friend.
Yes, yeah, our website's looking a little bit better.
Yeah, it looks so much better now. Thank you, Phil.
We just we just need to work on getting some more merch up there.
Yes, we need to work on.
In the off season, we can work on that maybe.
Yeah, we need to work on getting a decent Photoshop-esque program.
I have GIMP. I'm just really bad at using it.
GIMP is terrible.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
We can get someone to give us a lesson.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I do know people who use it to great advantage and make beautiful things, but I just can't.
I'm not one of those people.
No, I don't understand it.
I knew Photoshop really well back in 2005.
Yeah, I
that's
used to
it.
Photoshop back then.
That's all.
I used to use Photo Deluxe. If anyone remembers that, message me on the internet because I want to know. Anyone
don't.
else? This was back in the mid to late 90s.
Okay. No, I didn't.
It was also Adobe, but they got rid of it and then they just went like whole hog to Photoshop.
Oh, okay. No, we were still on. Our computer only ran DOS.
I didn't have a computer. I used my friends. So keep up with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Haunted Mitten. Message me if you know what Photo Deluxe is. You can find me in the
or
same
if
places.
you know how to use GIMP, and can give us a tutorial.
Seriously. You can find me in the same places at Krista K. Coburn. K is at K Gray Writes, just the letter K. And you can email us at contacthauntedmitten@gmail.com. Don't forget that any books we mention on the show are available for purchase at bookshop.org/shop/hauntedmitten. There were a couple in this episode.
Yeah.
Supernatural. Get that one. It's fun. They make great holiday presents.
They do. They really do.
They really do. And I believe Bookshop is running some sales right now for the holidays, too.
Oh, I would guarantee. If they're not, they really should.
Yep.
No, I'm sure they are. And as always, happy haunting.